Speaker of the House Mike Johnson was talking about this funding deal they are trying to get done to avoid a government shutdown on March 14th. Now, in March, this is when the funding is going to run out, and we are up against the debt ceiling as well. They're going to have to increase the amount we can borrow, as well as pass more funding for the government. Now, they are trying to do something bipartisan, and usually that's how these things ultimately end up playing out. But Mike Johnson is trying to say the Democrats have no interest in what he is calling a clean CR. Now, typically, when they call it a clean continuing resolution or clean CR, it keeps funding at the levels it currently is with no cuts and no changes. It basically just says, we agree business as normal going forward for a period of time. Well, he says Democrats aren't wanting to negotiate and they're walking away from these clean CR negotiations. But he also said they are trying to freeze funding where it is, keep the funding going. However, they also want to put in and include the cuts that DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, this non-existent government department. Yes, I know they renamed it the Department of Digital Services, which was supposed to handle upgrading technology, things like that, and gave them way more powers. But those powers were not granted by Congress. It was just something Donald Trump did with the stroke of a pen in an executive order. And they don't really have the authority to do the cuts that they are trying to do because all funding comes from Congress. So Mike Johnson is saying we want to keep the spending where it is. We're going to call it a clean CR, but we want to put these other cuts in. The whole thing is ridiculous. It's not a clean CR. Ultimately, I think what they are going to end up having happen is within a day or two of the deadline, they are going to pass something with enough votes to go around a presidential veto. Donald Trump will either sign it, veto it. If he vetoes it, it'll go back to Congress. They'll pass it around him. And it will be some kind of a clean CR that restores everything back to current levels, at least for a few months, 6 months or 8 months, whatever the case may be. And then they will also include in there restoring certain things that Donald Trump is trying to cut, because that's what the hardball Democrats are going to have to play. I could be wrong about them restoring things that they have already tried to cut, but I think because they're trying to claim that they're keeping funding where it is, but while putting the cuts in, and Democrats aren't playing that, they're not buying it. I think the Democrats are going to play hardball on this and keep everything where it is, or they're going to try, and while still trying to avoid that government shutdown. Right now, them calling this thing a clean CR is disingenuous at best.